Good evening, everyone. I would like to call the committee meeting of the Departmental Operations in session. Denise, can you call the roll?
Trustee Stubbs.
Here.
Trustee Muhammad.
Here.
Trustee Pierce.
Here.
Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you all don't mind, I'll say the prayer. If everybody could bow their heads. Heavenly Father, I come to you in the name of Jesus just to thank you for another day. I ask that you come into this meeting and fill this room up with love, and that you watch over us as we go on our day-by-day journey. I ask that your will be done for our village, and bless all our department heads, our mayor, our trustees, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I would also like to state into the record that we have Superintendent Matt Stacy from Public Works here with us. First order of business, dumping in the recycle center. And I apologize, I don't have my glasses with me, and I don't want to put on no shades at the meeting. So I do have something to say about the recycle center. I want to hand you these photos, Matt, if you don't. Okay, if you could take a look at it. And then we had this conversation before about putting cameras over there.
Right.
And because we are spending a lot of monies over there picking up the debris, and if we put cameras there, wireless cameras, then we could see who's coming over there dumping.
Correct.
You know, because the recycle center is not a dump site.
Right.
So if you don't mind, if you could check into how much wireless cameras cost, and you can get a monitor for like $100.
Right.
And so we can see who is doing the dumping, because that don't make sense. Do you have any idea of the cost that I don't know how often you bring the dump truck over there?
When we contact Homewood, we'll get a 30-yard roll-off, and if I remember correctly, it's like the village pays around $400 a roll-off. I can double-check with Yvonne tomorrow morning to make sure that's the amount, but the last time I met with her, because she had questioned me about that, and I told her that, you know, people are going in there and they're dumping. You know, late at night, I've had residents call me, said that they've gone by there in the evening time and they've seen trucks in there, cars in there, headlights out, they're dumping. And I had mentioned it to the chief before to have their midnight shift, you know, keep an eye out. You know, when we cleaned that up and got that going again, we put it for tires, TV, paints, and that was some appliances, stuff that residents can't throw out during their garbage. Like the tires, they can bring over there. When we get a big enough load, Homewood will bring us out a 10-yard roll-off, and we'll load them up and they'll haul them away. This way, they're not being left out on parkways. The same thing with the TVs. You know, we'll get them, we'll dispose of them through Homewood or whoever else that does that for us. But I've had residents call me, and I have mentioned it to the chief to see if they can keep an eye on it through the midnight time.
Also, I don't know, is there a fee associated with that?
Yes, with that ordinance, that's the $750 fine for the fly dumping that you guys...
Is it posted up there?
Yes, it's on the sign.
I took a picture of the sign.
Yeah, you missed the rest of it, but it says on there, Village Ordinance 4- and the rest of it is on there. It's all on there.
And we can bring it to the COW meeting on Monday, and get a consensus with the other trustees
Okay.
about the cameras, because at least we'll know who's who, and we want to be able to get those plates.
Right, correct, because we went through there too long ago when it was a mess in there, cleaned it up, and I actually pulled in there and caught somebody, and I had Brian come over there with me, and the guy said, I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm dumping out. The guy was actually doing a job in Calumet City and bringing it here and dumping it there.
Was he issued a ticket?
Oh, yeah, Brian issued him, actually, Brian got him with the 750, plus he was a Dalton resident, but he was doing a side job or a job in Calumet City, so Brian got him for the city sticker and everything else. So he got about $800-900 in tickets.
Wonderful.
So
couldn't
whenever
happen-
we see anybody in there, we pull in there, as long as they're not, fly dumping. If it's a resident, we leave them alone, we just check the ID. If it's somebody that's not supposed to be in there, we issue tickets.
Okay. Trustees, do you all have anything?
No. What were some of the items you say were accepted? TVs, tires?
TVs,
Electronics.
tires, yeah, electronics, and appliances. Sometimes people don't, know what to do with them. They can bring them there and drop them off, and then we'll have Homewood pick them up.
Mr. Stacy, once the cameras are up, who would be responsible for monitoring and then reaching out to the police department or to the inspectors to ticket?
I guess we can leave that up to the Board of Trustees if they want to have that at Public Works or if they want to have that at the police station. I'm assuming, however, they could get a Wi-Fi signal or whatnot, how far I'm not sure how the wireless travels and all that with them cameras. Maybe we can check with, I'll check with Derek, see what he says, and then we can leave that up to the trustees where they would like that at.
So if Public Works was to monitor those cameras, it would be from what time to what time? Because it's generally, 7 to 3 that you all work?
Yeah, we're 7 to 3:30, so then it would be from 3:30 to 7 in the morning.
You would suggest police department?
Yeah, I would suggest police department, or if it's doing video, we can, run through it the following day. Because I go through there in the morning, see if we cleaned it out the other day. I came by in the morning coming in, and there was 2 piles in there already. So it's all happening through the nighttime. I did fix the 2 lights that were in there, so there's 2 street lights. They're not, super bright, but if somebody's in there and turns their headlights off and they're quick about it, they get away with it.
That's all I had.
Well, look at a couple different kind of cameras. One, the cameras that's in my mind is a camera that just activates when somebody's there,
Right.
and cuts off when the motion stops.
Right, nothing to keep
But
rolling.
then you gotta go and download it.
Right.
There's no Wi-Fi or it connects to a monitor, so
Okay.
it's really not monitored. But it will give you a good picture of the vehicle, and you might catch a license plate, you might not.
Right.
But you can look at both ways, because
Okay.
I think it's going to be really expensive to get something that somebody could monitor.
Right.
But we'll make a decision after we get a price.
Okay.
Yes, can you please, is there any way possible you can have that by Monday?
Yeah, I'll start on it first thing in the morning.
Thank you so kindly.
No problem.
Next item on the agenda is tree trimming. So I want to know, how do you do the tree trimming? I know you say you have a list, and actually, we might have a suggestion for you, because the water bill go out in zones 1, 2, and 3. Perhaps if you decide to do it by zones, if that's conducive for you, then we could send a notice out in the mail with the water bill stating that zone 1 will be cut during this period, unless you have emergencies or
Right.
something like that.
Okay.
If that sounds good to you.
Okay.
So I would like to know presently, how do you do it?
We have our list that we're rolling, that we get from the residents when they call in, or if they put it in through the website, and then we'll print it off, and like, we still have trees that are asking to be trimmed from last year, so we're trying to get those out, and then we move, just as we're moving, we do them. It's not, we don't do certain areas, we try and do them as the residents are requesting them. So we've been out the last month or so trimming some, and we took a couple down already. So we're trying to catch up from the ones towards the end of the year, plus start with the ones from this year.
So can you think about the different zones?
Yeah.
Because you can actually, a letter can go out in the water bill stating that during this period, you're going to be doing zone 1.
Okay.
During this period, we're going to be doing zone 2. And that way, they don't have to keep calling you, calling Elizabeth, calling me, calling the other trustees, wanting to know, well, we called and they said that they was going to get to us. This way, they would know when to expect if their
Right.
tree is diseased, if their tree actually need cutting, what period of time you would trim the trees, and it would cut that information. And also, we could possibly, Edward, put it up on our website, because so they will know if they're in zone 1, zone 2, or zone 3. And the way they distinguish what zone they're in is their account number on their water bill. For instance, I'm in zone 2, so my account number starts with a 2. And a lot of the residents don't know that, and therefore they have problems when it comes to knowing when their bill is due. And this would also help them get clarification on when their water bill is due also. And that will be, takes a lot of stress off of us, and a lot of the phone calls that we receive and complaints, if they knew when, what months that their trees will be looked at and their trees would be cut down or trimmed if it's conducive to the weather, unless it's an emergency situation. And I believe that will be, food for thought.
Right.
I'll bring it to the other trustees
Okay.
at the next board meeting.
Okay.
Trustees, do you all have anything to say?
Yes. If we went to trying to do a zone, do you have enough manpower to do that?
Honestly, no. Manpower's kind of light. I got 2 guys that are off. One's off with a workers' comp injury. The other one had off. It's not work related, but he had some type of surgery, so he's off. I got 2 guys that are in the garage. That leaves me right now with 12 guys on the street, not including if somebody's on vacation, 1 or 2 guys, or if somebody calls off. So right now, the way I've been doing it too is we've been out doing lights for like a week, and then we'll go and do tree trimming for a week. And we'll go, we kind of rotate it because we have the 1 truck, and like I said, with the limited guys, cutting down a big tree or whatnot could be, safety issue with only 2 or 3 guys out there. Usually it's nice to have 4 because you have 2 with the chipper, 2 with the boom truck.
That was my next question. How many would it take to safely cut
Safely,
trees?
I would say 4. 5 is good, but 4 make it, because you got, like I said, 2 on the 1 truck, 2 on the other.
Trustee? So can you maybe get with the water department and see, you probably know about the zones and what time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know which ones are which. I can get with Janice, and maybe she can tell me which area is District 1, 2, and 3,
Absolutely.
and then go from there.
Okay, and perhaps, I'm not saying go cut 50 trees in that one zone during
Right.
that 3-month period.
Right.
Because you have some trees that are diseased, some trees that maybe be blocking some lights, on a individual case basis.
Okay.
Okay? Next item on the agenda, potholes.
Everywhere. There, yeah.
potholes.
It's bad out there.
It's bad out there. My question for you, are you using hot patch right now or cold patch?
No, we're using the cold patch right now. The plant hasn't opened up yet. I spoke with them at the beginning of this month, and it's not supposed to be open until I wanted to say, they said like the 23rd, 24th of this month. They are going to contact me. Yeah, the week of the 23rd, they're supposed to open up with the hot. So they're going to contact me when they open up, so then I'll know that the plants are up and running. But right now, it's just the cold patch we're using, because that's all they have available right now.
Because that's just like a temporarily fix.
Yes.
Now, is the hot patch more costly than the cold patch?
Yes, hot patch is, because they charge a little more because they have to make it. They put it into the silos. When we go there, when we go to do our blacktop jobs for water main break repairs and all that, we have to call them and tell them, it's the Village of Dalton, I'm looking to get 21 tons today. So we have to call in and ahead with the amount that we believe we're going to need. If we're off a little bit, they don't say too much, but we have to call in to let them know how much we need.
21, can I? That's a good number. You mentioned 21 because it sounds like that's the number you worked with before, Mr. Stacy.
Right.
How much, do you remember what that would cost us when we purchased 21 tons?
Not offhand, because when we go and pick it up, we get it in the amount of 8 tons a load.
Pickup.
Yeah, because we don't want to be overweight or anything coming.
I want to give you an example. I live 154th in Minerva, and you probably know the street by heart. Starting from the north end to about maybe 6 houses in, it's a bunch of, just like in many streets.
Yes.
Do we have the capability of, I don't know the terminology, when they scrape down about maybe an inch or whatever that is, you know how they open up
Right,
a
how they
square
kinda like,
and then fill it with
yeah.
the hot patch. Do we have the capabilities to do that?
We can do it with more manpower. That's a lot of manpower. Because
what would
when you get into purchasing asphalt, the one thing you don't want to happen is for the hot stuff to get cold.
Cold, right.
Because then you're just going to dump out a block of blacktop. I would say a job like that would be, again, 4 or 5 guys, because you got to have the machine, the dump truck, the roller, the truck with the hand tools and the saws on it. So it takes quite a few guys.
Do we have all that you just listed? All
Most
that
of it,
equipment?
yes.
And
Most
if
of it,
you
yeah.
didn't, you just lease it or rent it for that day, or what? How do you do it?
If we needed to, we can rent it, but most of the time, like with our blacktop jobs, we got the walk-behind saw, we cut it out. Like you see the guys on the road with the bigger ones, we have a smaller one.
Yeah.
We cut it out, we use the backhoe, we dig it out, grade it out, and then we go get the asphalt and fix it. We don't have none of the bigger equipment for,
Like the
big
roller?
jobs. Yeah, we have a roller.
Okay.
But we have, like I said, a smaller one because we don't do the big jobs.
But it does the same thing. It's just
Yeah,
smaller.
yeah.
I think that would be more cost efficient because there's some, we just applied for a CDBG grant, as you
Right.
know, to do so many blocks.
Right.
But there are blocks like mine that aren't the entire block.
Right.
And I'm saying 4 or 5 houses. I'm just saying from the corner and about 5 houses down.
Correct, yes.
Just to do that square. We have enough equipment to do that type of job.
Again, we have the smaller stuff. I could tell you, yes, we get some guys. We can try, depending on the size of the job. If you're talking curb to curb, no, I wouldn't even attempt that with our equipment because, like I said, it's the smaller stuff. If we had big, if you're asking about going curb to curb, you're talking about needing a paver box because a paver box will make what is that? Like a 10-foot pass.
Okay.
To where we don't have that. We would be shoveling it, raking it, shoveling it down, and raking it out.
More manual.
Yeah, it's more manual labor for us because we don't have the paving machine like that.
Are paving machines super expensive?
They can range from 10, 15, 20,000. It all depends if you buy used, new.
Oh, really?
And the other thing is what the shape is if you buy used. You don't want to
With
buy.
that, we'd be able to do what you're talking about, the curb to curb.
Yeah, we would be able to.
With the same 4 men.
No, you would want to give more men because with a paver box, you got to have a guy on each side. because with the paver box, you have the flip gates on the bottom that bring the asphalt out. And you got to keep adjusting because you want to have the crown of the street to go properly to where the rainwater runs to the curbs and it doesn't sit in the middle.
So it pitches like on the ends
Yes.
toward the curb?
Yes.
Okay. That's something to consider. Because I think South Holland does that. Because they did a street on near me, 155th and King, and I watched them.
Right.
They had a huge machine.
Yeah, that's the paver
Bigger
box.
swatch.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, you think that was theirs, or they?
It might have been theirs. At one time, we used to have one here when we used to do the alleys and all that, but it was, I don't know if it was sold or whatnot, auctioned off way back when.
Okay, do you have any questions, trustee? So we can look for the hot patches, say the end of April?
Yes.
Can you call me when you start doing that?
Got it.
Thank you very kindly. Next item on the agenda, everybody's favorite, clean up debris in village, not limited to alleys. I know the snow have melted, and I know that trash is everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And also in the alleys. And I have to ask you this question. I know I saw John riding around taking pictures. Okay. Do John ride around and take pictures of what need to be done, or who ride around and see what need to be done in the village? Because I ride around through the village every day, all day, except for on Fridays. You know, it's Freedom Friday. I don't do that on Fridays. But it's horrible.
Well, we've both been out riding around. Just the beginning of this week, we were on the west side, going up and down the streets and in the alleys. John goes out where there's garbage or debris out. He'll write tickets, take pictures to put with the ticket, and we'll turn them into Brian to get them mailed out. But yeah, we are going up and down. We're, like I said, we're doing the best we can with the manpower.
How many men do you have total on duty?
Total on duty, 14.
You have 14
Yes.
men on duty. How many do you have out?
12 are on the street because 2 are the
No, no.
mechanics.
No, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many are out? There's 2 guys that are out.
So you have a total
17 guys.
of 17 guys.
2 are out on, one's workers' comp, one's personal surgery or whatnot. And then the other 2 guys are the mechanic and mechanic helper that are in the garage.
Okay. So you have like 15 out, because you guys are riding around.
Yes.
Correct.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
So you have 15 out, 13 that's actually doing work. But I see John doing work from time to time
Right.
also. So, is that your max according to your contract?
Contract is,
Minimum.
minimum for contract is, I don't know if it's 19 or they moved it to 20.
It's 19, they're
Yeah.
trying to move it to 21.
Okay. So you all are riding around, documenting what need to be done.
Yep.
Tell me, if it's not an emergency, how do you do that on a daily basis? How do you give out assignments so I can be comfortable in my mind?
Daily assignments that come in, if there's, as people call in, like I said, they'll call in, the girls will type up their work ticket for us and give it to us. We've been doing water shutoffs, has been our priority right now. We've been doing street light and tree trimming, like I said, going back and forth with that one. And then depending on the areas, they'll go out and paper pick. If we're out driving around, we see a bad spot today, we'll get them out there tomorrow within a day or 2 to get out there and get it cleaned up. And then we have them riding the main streets also, checking bus stops and all that, cleaning all that up.
So I want to share something with you. They came in my alley behind Kevin's garage, and I appreciate them getting up that debris that the
Right.
neighbors had dumped. Also, they received a $750 ticket, the landlord did. Now, those branches that I was mentioning to you today, it's like they rolled right past them.
Okay.
I mean, your order is your order if you see something else out there other than what you are out there doing.
No, I do tell them, because the issue that you brought, and I know who the guys were that went out there, I'll take that up with them tomorrow. But when they go down the alleys or even down the blocks, I tell them, when you're going, if there's something out 2 doors out, pick it up. The same thing with potholes. Like, somebody can call in at 14400 Woodlawn. I got a pothole in front of my house. What I tell them is, do the whole block. You're out there, people see you out there now that it's getting nice out, run down, do the whole block. And then they'll go to their next sheet, and keep going from there. But I tell them to do the whole block.
Spot checking. So when the individual get their assignment, do the supervisor go out there, spot check, make sure that their work have been completed?
Yes, we go out and follow behind them.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Stacy, I got a question on the following streets. And the reason why I mention these streets, because these are the main streets that anybody coming through Dalton, well, no matter where you're from, you're going to come through our village. And they are the following: 142nd Street, east and west; 154th Street, east and west; Sibley Boulevard, east and west; Greenwood, which would be, I guess, northwest or to southwest; Indiana, and Chicago Road. Is there any system in place that we can get on these thoroughfares, boulevards, whatever the proper term is, so that they're cleaned on a regular basis? I know now, like the trustee said, with that snow melting, you can see a lot of it exposed. But do we have anything in place to keep these streets that I just named, which are all our main thoroughfares, if that's the right term,
Right.
to keep on top of this? Because I live at, like I said, 154th and Minerva. I'm always down Greenwood. I'm always down 154th, 142nd, and it just seemed like there's always debris there.
With all those roads, unless there is something like somebody drove by and threw garbage out everywhere, we hit them on Fridays, because I make sure they hit all the bus stops also, so that it's clean for the weekend.
The streets that I just named, you say every Friday you all hit those?
Yes,
The ones I just
on the
named?
Fridays, yes.
Any questions, trustee?
I just have a question. If we wanted somebody to clean Sibley every day, like some part-time people or something, or I shouldn't just say Sibley, the main drag, say they did Sibley today and 154th tomorrow.
Right. Right.
How many people would you think you'd need in a week additional people do you think you would need to do something like that?
Are you talking just allocating like 2 guys or
Yeah,
something?
just
and
that's all they do.
Right. If you wanted to bring on part-time guys, which it's in the contract, we can bring in part-time employees, 2 guys, and you can have them go up and down the main drags every day.
Okay.
You can have them go down Sibley today, Indiana tomorrow, 4-2 tonight. It's just that's all they do. That's fine.
And what is the rate in that contract? $10 for those guys?
It's 10 or 12.
$12?
I think 12 is.
But
what
no
it-
benefits.
Correct.
Okay.
And they're part-time, but you got to look in the contract. After 1 year, I believe, it's either release them or bring them on full-time.
Right.
Okay.
That's what happened with your 2 ladies that's
Right.
in your office. They end up being, they're full-time now, right?
Yes, they're
Because of
full-time.
their hours.
Yes.
Okay. SWAP. My favorite people in the whole wide world.
Swap is once a month. I did request that they come out, if they can come out more, and they told me that they are booked throughout the other communities. So I told them, I said, if you get a day where you don't have to go to another town, I said, head this way and just call me. So they have us on the list to get extra days when they're available. I don't know that's the best that I could do.
I need my people to call
So
your people
if you
so
want,
can get it.
we can do it. You got the people, have them call me. Like I said, I did call them and ask them for more days, and they said that they were heavily booked. I don't know. So they told me they were
Right.
booked, but they were going to keep us
Okay, now,
available.
Swap, I us normally see them on Sibley Boulevard.
I am do Sibley and Greenwood because that seems to be a lot of trash in that area.
Sibley
So-
and Greenwood, you say?
Yeah, I have worked Sibley Boulevard and Greenwood.
So tell
From
me
that
this. How many swap guys do you normally get?
It varies. They come the one time. The least we've had, I think, was 6, 8, and we've had up to, I think, that one time they came out with the bus full. So I'm not 10, 12, 15
About
people.
Yeah, about
Yeah,
12,
I'm not
15.
sure how big the bus holds.
About 12 or 15 people.
Yeah.
Okay, and you never take them through the alleys or anything of that nature?
No, because like I said, most times I keep them right on the main thoroughfares to keep it clean. And when they were just out the beginning of this month, they went down Greenwood only, and we must have had like 60 to 70 black bags full of garbage. So they did a good job the last time they were out.
So that once a month, you don't know when that day would be?
Oh yeah, I have a schedule on when they're coming out here. Yes, I got it. The next time they will be out will be May 21st.
So-
That's the date they gave me.
Gotcha.
Because when in the beginning of the year they always ask for how many they request days, and I try and put 2 Mondays a month, and that was the Monday they had available to come here.
So you wouldn't see them again until June and then July?
Yes, correct.
No more than, unless we luck up and they're...
Right.
So let me ask you this question, Superintendent. You have community service guys that's up under Brian?
Yeah, we just started getting 2 of them in the last week they started.
And do he normally give them to you?
Yeah, well, they've been coming to me the past since last week. They've been coming. They work like 9 to 1. And one of them does, and I can't remember the other one. I think he's here a little earlier and stays till 2.
But that's a good idea to pick up some paper also.
Yep, that's what they've been out doing.
Okay. Thank you. Any more questions on SWAP? Vehicle maintenance. Vehicle maintenance, we looked at the warrant list, and it's unbelievable. We'll get ousted out as far as our vehicles are concerned. You stated that you have 2 mechanics presently.
A mechanic and mechanic helper.
You got a mechanic and a mechanic helper.
Yeah. That's what is classified in the contract. The mechanic helper is more or less a light duty mechanic, but he's not into the diesel and the hydraulics and all that.
He into the changing oil? And
Right, brakes, the
Rotate tire or something
the lighter stuff.
Okay, now when we look at the warrant list and we see all of this stuff being ousted to various shops for maintenance,
Right.
and I know you have a mechanic and a mechanic helper. It's unbelievable the amount of money that we spend for oil changes, rotating tires, changing a light bulb. That don't make sense to me in my mind. And I know that you only have a mechanic and a half.
Right.
So, do you also have a maintenance book?
Everything is logged in the computer.
Okay.
Let me correct myself too. Yes, each truck individually has its own book, and it is stored in the computer.
Okay. Now, if John Doe take vehicle number 2, you have a maintenance book in there for him to check before he pull off.
Yes.
Okay. That's just for public works.
Yes.
Now, we also saw vehicles from the police department that they have sent out, and it's unbelievable to me because it looked like this is every month that you have thousands and thousands of dollars going out to maintain these vehicles. You know, all of them breaking down at the same time.
Well, in Public Works, I can say a lot of ours are older trucks.
I can understand in public works.
The other departments, I couldn't tell you how they're breaking down or why. If they come into the shop and we can fix them, we'll fix them. Or if they take them to the dealership or whatnot, that's on their end over there. Same with the fire department. We fix what we can. With the fire department, the only issue that I have is my guys touching the pump panels and that for the fire department, because my guys are not certified to do that.
Okay.
So I would prefer to send that out, just because they got to be certified to make sure they're set at the right specs and all that. But anything, you know, water pump, anything that we can do, we try to do in-house.
And I know you give me a report every month on how many vehicles you
Right.
fixed, and then I'm looking at the warrant list and what have went out.
Right.
You know, and that's just is unacceptable to me.
Right.
You know.
Well, you got to look now. If you're going to start looking at the numbers and seeing how much is going out. 10 years ago, we had 3 mechanics and a mechanic helper, and nothing. The only time it went out was if none of them could fix it, and that was very rare.
Okay, now so you have 17 and you down 2 according to your contract.
Right.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes. Matt, I just have a question. What kind of work does Interstate Billing Service do?
Interstate is going to be, I believe that's international. That's just a billing company for international. That's Rush International is for our big international
Yes.
trucks. That's where we get the parts from. They have a billing company that does their billing.
Okay, so is that mostly for parts? I mean,
Yeah, that's mostly parts.
okay. And pit stop, is that usually oil changes?
That's, oil change. That's got nothing to do with my department. Yes. Maybe fire.
What about factory motor parts?
Factory motor parts is us. That's where we get batteries, starters, alternators. That's basically dealing with police cars, public
Okay.
works cars, trucks.
So that's all in-house stuff?
Yeah, that stuff is in-house. Those are parts that we get.
Well, that's good to know. So what would it take are you saying it would take 3 full-time mechanics and a mechanic helper to get back to where we used to be?
In my opinion, if you wanted to, you would need to get some more mechanics. You can slow down, then that would ease you up on sending stuff out. Like I said, we go and like some of our equipment dealing with hydraulics and that, there's times where the main hydraulic line will blow and you got one guy on it all day long because it's running from the front of the truck to the back of the truck. And it's not a 10, 20, 30-minute fix. It's a half a day. Street sweeper, that's a whole other ball game. That breaks down, that's one guy all day long because there's so much to take apart. There's so many moving parts, and you got to take seats out, dashes out to fix a hydraulic line. It's crazy, but that's the way it is. So there's a lot when things break down. I don't know if like the fire department, police department thing, we could take care of it in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Fire truck came in with a bad radiator hose and pump. The guys went, changed it. They had a guy that was up on top because that's where we had to fill the antifreeze up, and we had a guy down below handing jugs up to fill it up. Fire truck takes a lot of antifreeze, so they were there for a little bit, standing there taking gallons up. So there's a lot on our one mechanic right now.
You have anything else?
Okay, thank you.
You have any, trustee? I just want to ask you a few more questions, and I'm gonna wrap that up real quick. Your street sweeper, is it operable?
No.
the machine that you use to, like the vacuum cleaner,
Mhm.
that was on the warrant list,
Mhm.
is it operable?
Yes. You're talking the sewer vector, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So are we ousting the street sweeper out? Right now is, I think he was from Elgin, I want to say.
Yeah, that, we didn't take it out yet. I sent Yvonne email with the proposal for a new sweeper to give out. I'm not sure if she's done that yet. I can check with her. Right now, the sweeper we have is a 2008, and that sweeper, when that goes out, it's got more moving parts than anything. It's got an automatic greaser to help everything stay in shape. But when that goes out, that machine is running 8 hours a day. And it's a 2008. We've replaced hydraulic lines. We've replaced everything in it. Now it's getting to the point to where when a hydraulic line breaks, once we replace it, the next week one goes. So we could go out for 2 days and it'd be down another day. Then when we, it's like a chain reaction going on now. And I spoke to the sales rep from Standard Equipment, and he came out, looked at. Actually, I take that back. He didn't come out. I talked to him on the phone. I asked him, what the prices were for new ones, so that I can get that turned into the board for you guys to look at it. I said, and what would you give us for ours? He told me right now, without even coming out, he said, Matt, he wants to sell us a sweeper, a new one. It's been since 2008. He's willing to give us $22,000 for a trade-in.
New?
Yes. Well, $22,000 for ours.
For ours.
Yes. And then a new one is $200,000. It's like, yeah, but
I think you better get you some brooms.
But you brought a proposal in a year ago or so.
yeah, it's around the same. Yeah. Oh, the refurbished one. I haven't checked on a refurbished one.
200K new.
Yeah. The new one, I believe it's 3 or 4 year warranty. It's got a lot of good things that they're offering to give us with it. The training, the mechanical training. So I turn that in. How that goes.
It's not looking good.
So
I want to ask you this question. For Elgin to come out, do you know the price?
$200,000.
That's what you were
That's what we
spending?
paid last year or the year before. Yes.
That was for the whole year?
Yep. That was for.
For the summer?
I would have to. Yeah. It was for the summer. They came out April, May, June, July. I think they were done in August, September, and that was only 2 cycles a month, twice a month. He would come through once in the beginning, sweep the town, come back at the end of the month, sweep the town.
So you paid out to Elgin $200,000.
Not me.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
They paid out
Oh,
$200,000.
Yes, yes.
And that's what a new one would have cost
Correct.
the village.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, any more questions on
Yes.
the street sweeper?
Can you reach out? I know it's a far-fetched idea, but just reach out to Orland and Tinley. And the only reason I name them is because they're cities with a lot of money, and a lot of times they replace equipment just because they can.
Right.
So could you reach out to them just to see if they have anything
I'll reach out
that
to.
they're willing to give us?
Okay.
And if not,
On street
that
sweeper.
they would be willing to sell us
Okay.
at a reduced rate.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for that information. Water main breaks and restoring parkways. I don't have any glasses on, so that's right. Okay. Water main breaks. I saw one on Chicago Road today. About
53rd.
153rd, okay? When did that break? Do you have any idea?
January.
January. This is April. How long, and I know I've asked this question before, how long, and it's according to the weather,
Right.
how long do it take to fix that?
We try. It's depends on manpower, depends on the jobs that are going out. That one we can, as soon as the weather breaks, we're going to start going through them all again. Any of the ones that are out there, it's like I said, manpower. We've been zoned in on water shutoffs. We've had 2 crews out doing that, and we got a list of asphalt jobs and curbs and all that to replace as soon as the weather breaks. As soon as the plant opens up, I should say, because there's no use in going out there and putting coal patch down. Now I'm going to take that up and possibly waste it or whatnot when it gets mixed up with all the dirt and all that.
April 23rd.
Yes, ma'am. That's what they told me they were going to be opening up.
Okay. Now, the reason why I say to ask that question is because it's like you're jumping around with jobs. And I know it's conducive to the weather.
Right.
Okay? But the residents, I kid you not, and I don't know how they got my personal number.
I gave it to them.
But they call me all day, every day. And the only thing I can do is have an understanding, when are you going to send some guys out to repair it? I forgot what street that was, Mr. Gonzalez with the mattress in the backyard.
Was that
Kenwood,
Okay.
Yeah.
because he said that his had been like that for 2 years.
In the backyard.
No,
Oh.
the front, the
Okay.
water main break.
Oh, okay.
And finally, it was finally taken care of, and he appreciated that.
Mhm.
So it's things like that I don't know if it was an oversight or whatever. Do you write down where all your water main breaks and where you
Yes.
have to go back to?
Yes, we got it to where we got to go back to, yes. Keep track
Because
of that. The
it's-
girls have it logged in the computer.
and those girls are pretty decent.
Yes, they've been staying
Yeah.
on top of the game and everything being inputted into the computer and the files. They're doing a great job.
Well, I should say young ladies, because they are doing a good job over there.
Yes.
And that's all I want to get an understanding, so when the
Yeah.
residents call me,
I can get them prepped, but again, it's going to be prepped and no asphalt, no concrete until the weather and the plants open up.
and maybe that would even help,
I can
slow
start with
down
that.
the phone calls, because I kid you not, my phone started at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Trustee Stubbs. And I don't mind, because if it was me, I would want the same thing.
Right.
And I wouldn't want mine to be like that forever, because, they trying to beautify their home.
Mhm.
So, I'm going to turn that over to
Okay,
Trustee.
my question, 153rd and University, I think it was a water main break back in the wintertime, but are you saying asphalt has to be used for a parkway? Because this is the grass that's damaged. 153rd and University.
We can get out there and level it off and all that. We've been using grass seed now just because of the cost of sod. We've been putting dirt down with grass seed and putting the hay grass over it. So if we can get dirt that's not frozen there through the winter months, we can do it. We try and go out there and at least level it off and throw some sand in there for now until we can get some dirt.
All right, so when there's a repair to be made from a water main break and it's just the parkway, is it still depending on manpower and weather?
Yes, and if there's something going on, if there's a job that came up that's an emergency to get done or whatnot.
And like I said, I'm sure you're familiar with this 153rd, that was back in like January, February.
Okay, yes.
But weather, because it's what you put in there is gravel, I think, temporarily. Is
Right.
that what you throw down in there?
Yes.
So that would still have to wait for manpower and weather, even though we're just talking about dirt and sod or seeds or whatever.
Yeah, at least the manpower. We can get the manpower. get the trucks out there with dirt and then put it in there and rake it out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you there. Trustee, you have any more questions? Finally, water turnoff. Okay, and you just stated that that's a priority.
Right.
Okay, in the event that the water need to be shut off, you receive a list, from Barbara, correct? And we're going back to the zones. If she's doing zone 1, then she's sending you a list for zone 1 for turnoff. And if you cannot turn the water off, if for some strange reason there's something wrong up under the ground, I don't know the correct term for that, and you cannot reach that box to turn the water off, then do you leave it running?
I just said, if we go and we get an address and we go to turn it off and the rod is broken on it, that's an extension rod from the roundway that turns it on and off. If the rod's broken, then if the water's on, it stays on. We put in for locates. Then they've been out digging since we started doing the shutoffs. I got one crew out digging, shutting them off, and I got another crew out in front of them just trying to shut them off. So if it's broken, then we got a crew that comes in behind it.
So you had a success rate doing that?
Oh, yes. Going out, digging them up and shutting them off?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And this is 7 days a week that you're doing this?
5 days a week.
5?
Yes.
I'm sorry. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
5 days a week. Okay. And from what time to what time? All day?
Yeah, so they get
8
their list in the
hours.
morning and they come in at the end of the day.
Okay. Okay, you guys have any questions?
What are the different scenarios where you can't turn it off? I know you said if it's under, asphalt or concrete?
Yeah, if it's under asphalt or concrete, we have to put in a Julie locate, and that is a minimum 48 hours for them to come out and locate out the property for utilities and all that. There's times where we just did one in the valley the other day. It was under a tree. We dug down, we were able to find it, and I had to move it away from the tree and put a new box on it and all that, so we had control of it. And there's been other times where it's under a tree, and I dug across the street where it was tapped into the main and put a new B-box across the street to where we were able to control it.
So that's 3. Concrete, asphalt, and if it's under a tree,
That's more than...
Is there any case where you just can't find it?
There have been some that do not have B-boxes, so we have to, we don't have no machines or anything to line locate the line, so we'll call Calumet City Plumbing, they come out and line locate it, and then we'll go out, dig it up, and we'll cut in a new service live and put in a new curb stop, B-box and all that.
So we don't have something to line locate it. Cal City has that equipment on it?
Yeah.
So let me make sure I got all the scenarios. Concrete, asphalt, under a tree, no B-box. And if it has no B-box, you call Cal City to locate the line, and then Public Works will install it.
Yes.
Those are the only scenarios that we would have that you couldn't turn water off. Okay. Because right now, it's always at least $1.5 million that's owed to us over 120 days, I believe it is.
Right.
It always floats $1 million, $1.5 million or more. Sometimes it goes up, it goes down per month. Is that the reason why we are owed so much money, because we aren't able to get the cutoffs to bring that money in? Because we were told when the Water Department and Public Works, which works together, when they're aggressive, we're able to collect more money for the 120 days or more.
Okay.
Those are the reasons why, and I know you probably can't answer this, but do the best you can. Maybe let me rephrase the question. In your opinion, what do you think we could do to secure our $101.5 million? Because I'm being told when we go aggressively, that number comes down. What is happening that we can collect that money so that we can bring that 120 days or more in?
You want the truth?
Absolutely.
There were billing issues last time. We spent more time going back, turning water on, because there was billing issues, And we would be halfway through a list, and after lunch, like, oh, well, there was a mistake, turn this back on. There was a mistake, turn that one on. So we were going backwards instead of going forward. And I spoke to, I think it was Brian and Barb back then, and told them, hey, don't give us something that we're going to turn off and have to go back and turn on after lunch. That's just a waste of time. So if you can get in there and figure out if these bills are accurate, and then give me a list to go from there. But we wasted more time going back, turning people's water on, and having to come back after hours to turn it on
Like double
because
work.
there was mistakes. So now you're sitting there paying time and a half for 2 employees to come back after hours and turn it on. Alls I requested was to make sure it was right, so we didn't have to, we were losing money now.
So how long that you, because Marciniak's been gone since the summer, so apparently this has been an ongoing, it's a systemic issue.
Yeah, it depends, like now, not too long ago, a couple lists, maybe a month ago, there were some we had to go back and turn on because the bills were wrong. I don't know how it goes through the computers, but I was told there was a mistake. So it has to be turned back on. So again, we're going back, turning water back on instead of staying forward, shutting everything off.
So you feel if the billing issue was corrected, we could bring that $1.5 million down to something
Well,
realistic? Because there's
would-
always going to be people 120 days old.
Yeah, I would hope so, yeah. As
So
long as,
that's primarily it, you think, is the billing issues. If you had accurate shutoffs, that would bring that amount owed to us down dramatically?
well, I couldn't tell you, I don't know what the billing is for the residents that owe money.
Right.
But Yvonne has told me she can see when we're out there shutting water off.
Right.
She says you can see the money coming in. I don't know how that takes the money down, how fast it does or whatnot.
Right.
But the billing has to be, like I said, we waste more time going back, turning
We need
water
to
on.
look at that, is what you,
Yeah.
okay.
So I need to ask this question.
Something to say about it, Denise.
Can I let me just ask this quick question. So when that happened, do you document it?
Oh, yes, I come over, I'll speak to Janice, and I'll have her call Barb, and then Elizabeth also knows too.
I'm gonna repeat the question again. Do you document that?
No, I bring the list over that is bad, and I'll write on it, had to go back and turn it off.
When that happened again, would you kindly do me a favor? Document it and leave me a copy in my box.
I would do that.
Okay? Anytime that happened, document it. Leave me a copy, please, in my mailbox so I'm made aware of it and I can inform the other trustees that this is going on. Because what we've been trying to do is find out what is the problem with the water department. But if this information, this pertinent information that you're sharing with us now, if we don't know, we can't speak on it.
Okay.
Because that don't make sense for you to be paying guys overtime.
Right.
Billing is wrong. They cut off the water. They send you the wrong information because they're blaming you and you're blaming them. So
Well,
I understand that you say that you talk to somebody, but black and white, that says it all to me.
okay.
So if you
They can't blame me for their mistakes. I'm not the one that creates the list and all that, so.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but if I'm not aware that they sending you out
That's-
on a mission
That's not a
to
problem.
cut it off, and in all actuality, it's not supposed to be cut off.
Right.
If we don't know, then we thinking that, hey, something's wrong with Public Works.
Right. No.
Okay, so I appreciate it if that happened again. Just
You'll
put it
have-
in my
you'll-
mailbox.
you'll
I
have it all.
appreciate it.
That's not a
Thank you
problem.
very kindly.
You got some insight on that?
The one thing I was going to say is, in terms of collecting the revenue, maybe you should go back and probably massage that number a little bit and take the residentials that are paying the bills versus those homes that are unoccupied, that are potential foreclosures. Because you may not collect that money ever. You understand what I'm
So that
saying?
$1.5 million,
Yeah,
half of it might be.
half of that
empty
million
out,
could, right,
uncollected.
yes.
Yeah, uncollectible.
Because some of that is collectible and some of it won't be collectible.
Matt, how do you turn off the water from a property that's unoccupied?
That's unoccupied. If we can locate the B-box, we'll shut it off at the B-box out front. If there's an issue with the B-box and the house is vacant, we'll get a hold of Brian. We'll try and get inside to at least turn it off by the meter, because there have been homes that we couldn't shut off in the parkway. Then we've contacted Brian, got in through one of the doors, shut the water off in the house so it's not flooding out, because we have had houses that were vacant and they flooded out.
So tell me this, how do you know, how are you informed that the house is vacant?
We'll get phone calls from residents, or if somebody comes in, tells the housing department, water department that it's vacant next door to them or across the street, they'll send us an email.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm glad Ms. Fields is here. Maybe you can answer this. Out of the 300 or so abandoned properties, whether they be foreclosed or whatever, can we say right now that those properties' waters are shut off?
No.
Out of the 300 or so, do we have a percentage, or it's like an organic list? It changes weekly. We just don't know how many are on or off.
No, because I'm kind of not in that
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
Flow.
Do you have a list of the vacant homes?
Yes, we do.
If
Yeah.
there is a list, I can give it to my meter truck. They can go out in between appointments and check. The only list, I have a vacant list from 2016. So yeah, if you got a new one, if you can forward it to me, I can give it to my meter crew, and as they're out doing appointments and leaving, I can have them swing by and check them.
That's all I have. That's all we have on our agenda. I want to thank you very much. Now we would like to open it. If no other trustee have any comments or anything to say, we can open it up to citizens' address. So if any citizen would like to make a comment, you can come on up to the podium.
Ms. Denton, you have something to say?
And I want to thank you all for coming out.
Matt, a quick question.
Yes.
SWAP, I'm trying to get an understanding as to how the areas are designated for them to get that particular spot.
I try to make them do the main roads, like Sibley being the main road coming in. I like to have them do that just to keep it clean as people are coming through. And if, like with Greenwood, after the snow all melted and everything, it looked terrible out there. And I kind of just zoned in on the areas that were pretty messy.
My thought process is taking me to 142nd Cottage, heading north, past
Okay.
Taurus,
Okay.
past that inland
Yeah.
thing. Is that ever on the list? That is.
They've done it. Yeah, they've done it before. But I can get them out there again the next time they come through.
Please.
Because I send my guys over there to get the intersections and all that, to get all that cleaned up on the four corners. And depending on if we got the time, because I like to hit Sibley Boulevard and all that too. So I'll make sure we get that next time. I have them go all the way down to 138th.
God bless. Thank you.
Hello, Matt. I've been talking to you for several years, trying to get the anchor part of my driveway repaired from when you all did what you call was a patch job for a water main break.
Okay.
That you all never came back to finish. And at one time you all were continuing to put rocks, and now I spoke with you possibly 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And we spoke about you putting some rock down until the hot patch became available.
Okay.
But yet you guys still have not been out there yet. And when do you think you're going to get there?
I'll get you in by end of week. It'll be taken care of.
Thank you.
1420 East
Desiree.
156th Street. Say that again. 1420
Correct.
East 156th Street. It's right behind the Dorchester. Yeah.
How long has that been going on?
Over 3 years.
Desiree? Thank you. So if nobody else have anything, then we can adjourn the meeting. If I can get a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
The motion have been second,
Motion has been made and seconded.
made and second. We can adjourn this meeting. We would like to have a vote.
Aye.
Trust-
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs,
Aye.
Trustee Muhammad,
Aye.
Trustee Pierce.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming out.